Good morning, everyone. I just finished watching a video in which a woman whose son was murdered in the just attacks was talking to her son. She addressed the son solemnly with everything in her heart. Confidently, in fact, that woman has cried out all the tears in her body, in her heart. In the end, after her speech, she raised her blouse up and then brought out a brand new machete and placed it in the coffin for her son, probably to avenge his own death. It is very painful. Looking at the way she addressed the son, I was asking myself a lot of questions. Who are we fighting for? On whose behalf are we fighting for? Is it on behalf of God? The God we say is omnipotent, which means the all-powerful, is the one we are fighting for. If you believe that your God is all-powerful, do you have to fight for that God? Do you have to fight on behalf of that God? Do you have to fight in defense of that God? I have been pondering. You see, each time when I wake up in the morning, I normally have three prayers for myself. My first prayer is that God bless me with enough means so that I can always give. If you get, you give. Bless me with knowledge so that I will know and then teach. If you know, you teach. And then make my own mind always merciful, more merciful, and then make my eyes unable to stand the sight of any human blood. Those are the prayers I always say for myself. I can't even imagine my own neighbors that I see eyeball to eyeball on a daily basis. We talk, we chat, we joke, we even share things, we celebrate together. And then I will pick up a knife or any weapon whatsoever and then hack that same neighbor of mine to death and then say it is an act of worship or I am doing it for God. Which God? I think this nonsense has to stop. This nonsense has to stop. It is very painful, especially if it has to do with your only child. There is no hope of you, giving birth again or procreating again as a man. It is painful, what we are seeing as a joke, the evil we are seeing and we are supporting it. It is painful to surely haunt you. Some human beings are heartless in this life. Very heartless. They kill, they work, understand, iniquitingly for a living. They kill for a living. You see, they do all atrocious things for a living. How can you live on other people's, on the expense of other people's life? I do not know which God we are fighting for. It is very painful. It is very painful. In fact, I do not want to watch that video again. Each time I go there, I watch it, I break down. I do not pray for the life of our loved ones to worth only a presidential handshake in this country you call Nigeria. It is very painful, very, very painful. God, very painful. Please, I am calling on the Chief of Army Staff and the Minister of Defense to look into this matter very critically, because the army was accused of giving backing to the terrorists. This is not the first time the army had been accused of aiding and abetting criminals like this in the country. Remember what General Tiwa Danjuma said, that the army is not innocent in all of these crimes. The army is also being used. the Chief of Army Staff, the Minister of Defense should look at this matter very critically. Remember the interview, Very Dark Man, somebody granted Very Dark Man, and what the guy said when Very Dark Man interviewed him when he went to Jos. The guy said that the army backed the terrorists to unleash that mayhem on them that very day in that Angwaru, Cuba. The Chief of Army Staff should take this matter very seriously, and the administration should do everything possible to repositioning the army for professionalism, to entrench their reputation. That is very important. In the country, I believe that in the profession of arms, soldiers are not loyal to religion or region or tongue or tribe, but solely to their nation, and that is all about it. So I do not know the loyalty of those soldiers who are doing all of these things. Please, the army should take this matter seriously and do everything it takes to bring this nonsense to a stop. It is painful, oh, I do not pray that even the relatives or any of my enemies should be involved in that kind of violent death in Nigeria. No death is painful like violent death. The kind of death that you come face to face with it, that nothing can save you. No death is as painful like that, where you see your killers face to face. You see, no death is painful like that. If you sleep in your house and die, at least the pain will be more, less. But you coming face to face with attacks in a situation whereby there is no way for you to escape, you must die. Such death is very painful. Very, very painful. We have to look at this thing critically. In fact, Nigerians' acclimatization with all these absurdities in the country is what, beats my imagination. Is what, elicits my emotion and puts me in a state of catalepsy. We are so comfortable. We have gotten used to things like this and say, well, it's one of those things. We shouldn't get used to nonsense. We should rise and say enough is enough. It is very important. Please, the Nigerian army, do something about this. The Nigerian government, at least, we are watching, the world is watching. Enough is enough of all of this nonsense.